we'll know coming up soon some guidance from the governor's office and from the AAA.
With the season, man, I'm hoping and praying we get to play.
I'm 50-50 right now. Just judging the climate, it's up in the air right now.
I can't imagine not having one.
It's tough to predict.
My prediction is that we have one just because it means so much to the kids.
Well, I think we're going to have a season.
I think we will have, some form of season. That's what I'm hoping and praying for.
Athletics in general at most schools is highly dependent on football gate. Whatever delays we have to do for health reasons, we'll do, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to have football.
Whether it's a shortened season or whatever it is, we just want to have one. Those guys that got their spring sports cut short last year, I'd hate to see it happen to another group.
Anybody, any coach that's associated with the kids, and the AAA too, from some people I've talked to over there, they know and believe that sports are good for kids, all sports. And we hate the seniors that lost their seasons at the end of last year in the spring sports. Not just because they worked so hard to get to that point and take it away, but for the life lessons they missed out on. That responsibility, that fighting through something hard and know they could do it in life and come out on the other side. That knowing that somebody's counting on them. They miss that. So as a coach, you want your kids to experience that. That's what I want to make sure our kids are getting.
We don't have a clue what the timetable is or what we're supposed to be doing other than what we've done for the last 8 weeks. And that's the frustrating part, is not having a plan, not knowing what we're going to do when the kids are going to be able to start.
We can't really get a hold on how we think it's going to go. In 1 minute, we see some bright spots throughout the nation, and then we see an outbreak here or there, and it kind of put it in perspective.
It seems like everybody was saying in the summer it would probably go away due to the heat and that sort of thing. It's only picked up more.
Man, I'll say this, you have to be flexible. You have to be flexible in everything you do because you don't know when they're going to turn us loose, put the helmets on, and let us go back to a regular day. My gut feeling is we might get delayed, but I think we're going to get a chance to play.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And so for right now, you just have to be patient and be flexible with what we're doing.
Football is such a great game because to be good at football, you have to manage chaos. You have to be adaptable. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be able to handle a lot of different circumstances that are coming at you quickly. That's one thing I love about this sport. So in all reality, the current trends we're having in our culture really play into the mindset of we need to be ready for anything at any time. So we're not going to sit around and what if this, what if that. We're going to read and react, which is the cliche for football anyway. I want to see these seniors have a great year.
Well, I would hate it for any player that was set to be a starter this year that doesn't get that film, especially if they didn't already have film out there. That would be a major disadvantage to a player in the recruiting game. Especially they'd spent 3 years working to earn that spot for their senior year, and they don't even get to show that tape. So I really hope we get to play this year.
The beautiful part is we got to practice on a limited basis, but they get to experience some of that. So I'm glad they're getting those life lessons. As a coach, you want them getting those, but you also want them to experience the reward of getting to play those games on Friday night, because training is hard. I mean, it's 100 degrees outside right now. On the turf, it's 120, 2 feet above the ground. I mean, you want them to get the reward of playing because there's other life lessons you learn in there. And that's the time when everybody comes together to fight for one thing, and it's selfless, and they learn that lesson as well, that it doesn't matter who gets the credit. It's how do we do as a unit? How do we do as a group? We talk about this all the time. If you're in your house, you need to be ready at all times. If it catches on fire, I need to have a plan and be ready to get out of there. If somebody breaks in my house, I need to be ready to have a plan to get out of there. If we get to play on time, we need to be ready. If they want to wait another month, we need to be ready. And that's one good life lesson we've been able to kind of infuse that we normally don't get to. We're preparing every day like it's going to be on time. If they move it back 2 weeks, we're already prepared for that.
It's just the same. The next announcement is the same. But you've got to be prepared for that time when it's not the same. And when it's time to move on to the next phase, we got to be ready for it.
Right now, for the most part, this is pretty much just an extension of off season.
We're just running a really abbreviated off season for the last 8 weeks and waiting to practice football, and that's been the most frustrating part of it.
You're putting in your offense and your defense, a lot of installation stuff on the board, a little bit out here, but you're distanced, a lot of working out, a lot of running. That's pretty much about it.
When your time is called, be ready to play. If not, we'll monitor and adjust, and we'll wait on whenever they make the call. But it's a day-by-day process, and we're taking that approach.
The challenge has been we've got them divided up for their workouts. They can't hang around. they got to come in, work out, and get off campus. So, the challenge is that we just hadn't really had a lot of time to spend with each other than just workouts.
Well, collectively, we have to keep each other positive. We're still coming out here for the same goal, at the long term. But not having those answers makes it difficult at times. It really helps you have your other coaches' backs and having our players' backs as well.
We're preparing on what we can do. We're getting bigger, faster, stronger, and we're working on our craft and our skills on a daily basis, so when we're unleashed for the football season, we can hit the ground running.
A one-step process. Don't try to get too far ahead. Kind of wait on the ruling or the hierarchy. Once they kind of tell us what the mission is and how we're supposed to move, I think we'll move accordingly. But right now, we're just practicing social distancing, motivating each other, keeping everybody's the spirits up, and doing a lot of station drills where guys are able to go from one station to one station and still practice the guidelines that are in front of us.
I want these guys prepared to whether we're playing 5 games, 8 games, or 14 games. They're ready and they're prepared to maximize the time they get. One thing, teachable moment is I'm trying to teach them be grateful for things you do have. So these guys were excited to get in and start lifting and running again this summer, and because they had sometimes that gets old, day in, day out, all year long. Well, you go a couple months, you hadn't seen your friends or your teammates, and you haven't had the team activity. These guys were excited to get back, and they've done a great job getting in shape this summer. So we're kind of taking it 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time.
And then when you look at our higher levels, the professional levels, even though they go in bubbles and even though they have all the resources, you still see circumstances and situations of guys that have the outbreak or have COVID-19, and they monitor and adjust, and they hold them out, make them quarantine, and they come back. So
I think the governor and I think the health department and the AAA, they're doing everything they can to give us a chance to play.
You got to trust your leaders, you got to trust the process, and you got to believe in what they're doing is best for our kids, families, and communities. And with that being said, we're going to do what we're supposed to do, and we're going to do it how we're supposed to do it.
Hopefully, the people on the outside that are making decisions, I know you got to think of safety and you got to protect people and you got to do this, but I hope they consider the other things, other ways that kids need it, and that's the mental health. That's the normalcy. That's the life lessons they're going to miss. I hope that's factored in there too, even if we had to play at empty stadiums. I hope everything's taken into consideration when it all comes down to it, because it should all factor in. It's all important in it. And obviously I'm biased. I'm an advocate for the game of football. But nothing brings communities together across the United States of America like a Friday night or a Saturday or a Sunday football game. It just does. And right now in our society, we need people coming together, pulling for one thing, their team. And hopefully that's taken into consideration as well. Again, with safety measures in place.